Okay, friends, let's be honest. There are games that generate hype on the level of world events, GTA 6, Elder Scrolls 6, or even the new Assassin's Creed. And there is Ghost of Tsushima, the game that came out in 2020 and hit gamers' hearts so hard that even the Japanese said, wow, the Americans made a better game about samurai than we did. And this is not a joke. In the first 3 days after release, Ghost of Tsushima sold 2.4 million copies, and today, over 13 million. This is not just a game. This is one of PlayStation's biggest successes of the last decade. And yes, Jin Sakai has officially entered the club of main characters who stay with us for a long time. Why did the game take off so much? Because it was a true love letter to Japan. Beautiful landscapes, atmospheric sword fights, a story about honor and sacrifice. You sit down to play, and after 5 minutes, you already want to buy a kimono, a tea kettle for ceremonies, and sign up for calligraphy classes. And then you realize that nothing will come of it anyway, because in real life, you fight with a mosquito longer than Jin fights the Mongol army. Ghost of Tsushima was not only about beauty, it was a symbiosis of cinematics and gameplay. The same standoffs when you challenge an enemy to an honorable duel and feel like the hero of a Kurosawa movie. Foxes that lead to shrines, bamboo reaction challenges, hot springs where you could ponder life and even increase your health, and the music that makes you stop in the middle of a field just to listen. The game tried so hard to immerse you in Japanese culture that it even added ink calligraphies, sumie, where Jin himself drew the characters. All of this created the feeling that the game is not mechanics and icons on a map, but a living story. There was also multiplayer. It was called Ghost of Tsushima Legends. It was a separate cooperative mode that was released as a free update to the main game in October 2020. Unlike the main story, Legends was focused on Japanese mythology and folklore. Players did not need to complete the single-player campaign to get access to it. But let's be honest, the game wasn't perfect either. Although the world looked gorgeous, many side quests were similar to one another. At some point, you might catch yourself thinking, I'm a stealth and deadly combat master, but mostly I just help people with their rural household chores. Sometimes the story lost momentum because you were distracted by 100 little activities. But even these drawbacks didn't overshadow the main thing. Tsushima became cult. And now, on the horizon comes the sequel, Ghost of Yōtei, a game set to come out in October 2025, exclusive to PlayStation 5. And here's the important part, this is not a direct sequel. Events take place 300 years after Tsushima. A different era, a different heroine, a different region, northern Azo, modern Hokkaido, with mountains, snow, and cold winds. Forget warm fields of blossoms. Now you're about to enter a place where even the horses seem to need down jackets. The main heroine is Atsu. Her story is such that even Jin nervously sips sake. 6 traitors, known as the Yōtei 6, killed her family and nailed her herself to a burning tree. Yes, literally. She survived, and now her only goal is revenge. And here the player gets freedom. You can choose in which order to go after these 6. This is not just a list of bosses, it's a kind of tour-up who's unlucky enough to meet Atsu today. But don't think it will only be revenge and blood. The game retained a bunch of beloved Tsushima features. Onsens, the very same hot springs? Yes. Photo modes that take screenshots and then pass them off as Windows wallpapers? Yes. But now there's even more. For example, new director modes, Kurosawa mode, Miike mode, and Watanabe mode. This is when the game looks as if it was shot by Takashi Miike or Shinichiro Watanabe. Want horror? Want a stylized anime drama? Go ahead. And now about rumors. According to insiders, Atsu will have a wolf companion. Yes, a wolf, because what could be cooler than a samurai woman with a wolf who takes revenge for her family? If that's true, the ghost dog from the first game can rest. They also say there will be dynamic shops and more clothing customization, so players will be able not only to chop off enemies' heads, but also decide in what style to wear a kimono. And yes, multiplayer returns too. Legends will be back, only this time with new cooperative missions and survival against monster-like versions of the Yōtei 6. True, they promised this in 2026 as a free update, so you'll have to wait. But if it's as fun as in Tsushima, fans definitely won't be upset. It all looks very ambitious, but there are risks. If they overload the game with side quests, the classic story can happen. You wanted to get revenge on 6 killers, but instead you spend half an hour chasing foxes, painting banners, and gathering herbs for some old man from the village. Another risk is the balance between freedom and story, because freedom is cool, but a revenge story likes to be linear and focused, like the strike of a katana. And yet, despite everything, people are crazily anticipating the game, because Tsushima became not just a game, but a cultural phenomenon. In Japan, it sold over 1 million copies. For a Western game about samurai, that's like the Nobel Prize. It received a bunch of awards, fans made fan art, memes, cosplay outfits, and now Yōtei has every chance to repeat that success only on a new level. So why wait for Ghost of Yōtei? Because it's a chance to once again dive into a world where every duel feels like a scene from a Kurosawa film, where the beauty of nature makes you stop in the middle of a fight to take a screenshot, and where the story not only entertains but leaves a mark. If everything goes well, this game will become no less cult than Tsushima. And now, a question for you. Are you ready to take up the katana again, this time with a wolf as a companion, and go cut down traitors in the snows of Hokkaido?